All right, so we've got rid of all the we worked out the Wi-Fi issues. We talked about spiders and gray hair. We're feeling good now. We're all relaxed. Everyone's mics are good. Everyone's headphones are good. Is there any question in here, Anita, that you were like, I'm not really feeling that one, or like, what do you guys think about this answer, or like it'd be great if like you followed up with this question, or are you pretty much good to just go back?
There were a few I was able to prepare for, and some that I didn't. So I saw your message about wanting to have something clean all the way through. So if that's the case, then maybe I could just say skip to ones I don't have.
Or why don't you just go ahead? Why don't you just go ahead and tell me those, and we'll just do
yeah.
that
Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Because right now this is about a 45-minute to an hour interview. Gotcha. Based on what I did yesterday. It was about a half hour. And it's half the question, so we could even, if there's some you're just like, let's just.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd like us to cut down then, because we don't want it to be too long, especially if you're still having to cut it. Into everything. So give me.
So do you want to share the stats?
I could do those. Cool. That I have. That's not a problem. Can you tell it's recording?
Okay. It's recording now.
Okay, sweet. All right. Welcome. Oh, hello. We're good. Anita's, you're in. Sweet. Hello, everyone. This is Palmpalooza 2020. You've been watching, hopefully, with all your friends and family from a safe distance with your masks on. And by now, you've got your deliveries of all your sponsor gifts. So thank you again for doing that. Be sure to, take pics, post it, tell your friends that they missed out on Palmpalooza 2020. And of course, we want to see you next year. And we're trying our best to bring you as much entertainment and value as we can. So we've twisted Anita's arm, and she's here for at least the next 45 minutes to an hour, I'm sure. And she's going to share, some history of PRC, a little bit about herself, what's going on now, where we're headed. And it's really exciting. I had to, tag in my co-host here, Mary, because she's just, so precious, and everyone loves her way more than us. So she's going to ask all the hard questions, and I'm going to do all the fun questions. But yeah, be sure to comment here if you have any more questions. Anita will get to those as well when we get back into the office. But I'm Robby Bancroft, Development Coordinator of PRC. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll do some quick highs and lows and get right into it.
Okay, I'm Mary Bier. I'm not sure which hat I'm going to wear today. Probably the North County Outreach Collaborative hat, because I think that's the one that fits the best.
Nice.
And go ahead, Anita.
And I'm Anita Rees. I'm the Executive Director of the Pacifica Resource Center, and I am so happy to be here with y'all.
Cool. And Anita, we're happy. We'll just get right into it. Do you want to share some highs and lows, and then also tell us how long you've been with the Resource Center?
Highs and lows, oh my. The high is Palmpalooza. That's going to be way awesome. Tomorrow, we're going to have lots of fun delivering gifts to folks throughout Pacifica. Low is, I don't really have a low right now, because it's, right before an event is all about, getting it ready and getting it done. So all fun right now.
Nice. You stole my answer. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there. Palmpalooza high. Low is that, it's not in person, but I think we did a great job getting it together. And I just want to thank the staff, especially Development Associate Diana Milbert, for, being the missing piece of our puzzle and making it all happen. But yeah, thank you for all your support on all this, everyone. And Mary, highs and lows, and then we'll go back to Anita.
So I think lows is that we can't all be in the same room doing this and like maybe hugging each other when it's done and high-fiving and all that stuff. So that's a low for me. And a high is that we actually have a venue to do it in, right? Even if we aren't comfortable or it doesn't feel right, here we are.
Or if we have Wi-Fi problems, or I'm in my sweatpants. Either way, we're happy. Okay, great. Anita, can you go ahead? I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but how long have you been with PRC?
Yeah, I've been with PRC almost 11 years. It'll be 11 years in January. So yeah, happy to be here for that long. It's amazing how quick time flew. It's been over a decade now.
Anita, I can totally remember when there was a shift at PRC, and everyone's like, "It's okay, you can go there. It's really friendly."
Nice.
It wasn't friendly before.
Yeah, right, for sure. No, definitely.
That's just when I started hearing about it. So it was wonderful when you joined. So.
That's awesome. And then I won't make you go through all, 11 years of your stats, but, what were you and the team able to accomplish last year? I know we usually share this, at Palmapalooza, but I think the folks who have been supporting us, not just now, but all year round, want to know where their money went. Are you guys just going to Vegas with your boyfriend and just spending it all on red, or are we really making a difference here in PRC? So yeah, what can you just briefly share some of this year's stats, or last year's stats of the fiscal year?
Last year we actually provided services, 38,000 services. These are duplicated to assist 1 in 10 families in Pacifica. Specifically in terms of the programs that we provided groceries that benefited nearly 30,000 families or Pacifica children, adults, and seniors, so individuals, right? And these are folks who are coming oftentimes back for help on a regular basis, which is why it's 30,000 folks who have gotten help. We've prevented homelessness and sheltered 179 Pacificans, prepared taxes for over 200 households, which generated nearly $360,000 in refunds and savings. Nice. For taxpayers of nearly 46,000 in tax preparation services. Sorry.
That's more. Right? That's more sponsors calling in.
Exactly, right?
Like we want to do more.
Yeah, exactly. We also help 168 Pacifica youth get ready for back to school, and provided happy holidays to 214 children through our holiday gift program, and helped 518 Pacificans for Thanksgiving. And then through our homeless program, we provided 500 showers to folks who needed, wanted to take a shower, something that we totally take for granted, right? Most of them were preparing for work or job interviews or housing search, but even for those folks who didn't have those situations, it was just a matter of staying clean, getting clean, having a warm shower or something.
Dignity back and feels good after a shower, and that is something that we take for granted.
And it's a really nice service to be able to offer the community. I know I've been able to offer it to folks that I've met out in the community, and they're like, oh, I didn't know. Thank you for letting me know, because there's something, very personal about not being able to be clean. So that's really awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, the shower program was one of the nice things that we've been able to offer that's new for us. And it's only been 3 years.
Okay.
And I know since I obviously work here, that number is growing. So
absolutely.
That's awesome. All right. Yeah, this is a good one.
Are we talking about the success story?
Yeah, I think it's good. We're a very data driven agency, but at the same time, a lot of folks, they see the numbers and it's just numbers to them. But we really try to release, success stories. So is there a specific one that you want to ask Anita about, or that you think the audience at home should hear?
Well, it would be nice to hear a success story about someone in a motorhome, just because, there are successes happening at PRC.
Absolutely.
I can attest to that. There are successes.
Absolutely. Well, this was pretty recent, and of course I'm changing the names of the folks that I'm going to be talking about for confidentiality reasons, which also makes it challenging. We want to share all of the great stories at the same time. We also recognize that it's really important to protect the confidentiality of the individuals who come in, because if somebody thinks that we're going to start talking about their situation, they are less likely to come in. I mean, Pacifica is a really small, it's a city, but it feels like a small town. And oftentimes people are worried about coming into the office because folks will think that they need help, which shouldn't be a problem, but it still is, right? There's still a stigma associated with asking for assistance. Even now, given COVID, folks are still having a really difficult time coming in and asking for help. But this particular couple, Sarah and Curtis, have been living in their motorhome throughout Pacifica. We learned that Sarah was 7 months pregnant, and they were getting quite a few community complaints, and the police were being called out to kind of help them move along. And as part of our outreach program, it's called the Unhoused on the Coast Outreach Program. We hired 2 outreach specialists. And one of the things that they started doing a few weeks ago was going out and flyering the vehicles that we saw. And those flyers said, come to PRC for help. We can try to see, maybe there's a inexpensive place for you to park, access to showers, groceries, whatever it is to help you become housed. And as a result of them getting this flyer, they came into PRC. Nice. And with our help, Curtis was able to find a job in Foster City, and they found housing in Foster City, and we were able to provide a security deposit, and they were able to move in before Sarah's due date, and they're no longer in their motorhome. They're 100% housed and doing well.
Okay, now I'm crying.
Yeah, I was about to say, I forgot she was pregnant in the beginning of the story, because I was just like, it's like, oh my God. And if I'm not mistaken, that motorhome wasn't new. That was a local. So
oh yes, absolutely.
We can kind of share that's a little behind the scenes development coordinator insight. But yeah, there's not one size fits all, and there's not one story, that shares. So like, that was. I didn't know what I was going to hear, but that was a good one. So thank you. And yeah, we're 3 questions in and Mary's already crying. So, this was a good interview. For those of you watching at home, grab some tissue. We got some more coming for you. Okay, that's great. Obviously, you know this, but PRC does so much. And I hear people say, like, you guys do so much. It's almost like the menu at Breakers, where we have like so many items. People are like, what do we get? But like, folks like Mary and people who are in the community, they're really starting to understand what we do. And, when we share our stories and when we share our services, and each month we kind of, separate the services, so to speak. So we just covered motorhomes. Obviously you went through the great list of all the things we've done, but currently for folks who maybe, aren't as plugged in, but still might need the help, what are some like updates or brief things you can share for them, especially during COVID, like you mentioned? I'm sure we're seeing a lot more people coming in. So what are those buzzwords that people need to hear so that it's kind of planted in the back of their head when they need it? And then is there any other information you want to share briefly on that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one of our biggest pivots resulting from COVID is that we've limited the amount of time that the office is open to the public. So we are open to the public Monday and Tuesday mornings, Wednesday and Thursday afternoons, and our time is normal on Fridays, which is a short day, 9 to 1. All other times the office is open, but we're available by phone only. And we do encourage folks to call us and have phone appointments rather than actually coming into the office. But we realize that there are folks who really feel more comfortable being here in person, and that's why we do have open office hours as well. Another really big adjustment that we made was we are pre-packing groceries and either delivering them or it's available during a grocery drive-through, which is at 555 Buell at the American Legion Hall every Wednesday. Folks who are signed up in advance have an appointment time that they come and pick up if they need groceries. And then folks who haven't signed up in advance and don't have an appointment time can show up at 3:30 and we'll get them groceries, we'll sign them up for the future. And then basically anybody in town who needs groceries can show up at 3:30 at 555 Buell every Wednesday. And then if folks need groceries delivered because they're at risk or are seniors or have, well, those are the main things, at risk and seniors, or
you shouldn't be leaving the house. The folks who like literally can't come out.
Exactly. Then we will put them on the delivery program. But again, calling the office, talking to a case manager so that they can assess the situation, add them to the list is the first step. And then one of the other things that's been really, really important right now is folks aren't working or their hours have been significantly cut and they're having challenges paying their rent. And even though there are moratoriums regarding evictions, there are some specific things that folks need to do in order to benefit from those eviction moratoriums. And in some cases, folks have, accumulated quite a lot of rent that they need to pay back. And we have emergency financial assistance for those folks. They just need to get in touch with us. We created an online application to make it easier for people to apply for services and for help. But first step again is to contact us for help. We can pay back rent, we can pay future rent, we can pay mortgage. One of the things that we're really working on is making sure folks have a payment plan for past due rent so that we make sure they don't get evicted moving forward. So even though folks might have a lot of back due rent, we're going to focus on paying future rent first, current rent first, and then working it out to try to help with the other pieces as well. So definitely that's the other. And then I mentioned before our Unhoused on the Coast work, we are accepting folks to be part of our housing centered case management for people who are unhoused. So our outreach specialists are going out, connecting people to our services. And then for those folks who are interested and are selected, it is a process. Then they're also getting housing centered case management as well. So that's another piece in addition to the showers that we already talked about. But it's really cool to be able to do more than just refer out for homeless services, but to be able to do them in-house and really work towards helping people become housed, which is our ultimate goal.
When you were talking, Anita, and you talked about creating a plan with people so that they can pay their back rent, there's just so much value into having a plan. Because then it gives you hope, like, oh, okay, I can actually make these payments and I have people that are helping me figure out how to do it. Like, what a gift that is. And I know because I've received those kind of services before where I didn't think I was going to be able to stay in my apartment and I really wanted to, but there could have been a plan. I could have put a plan together and there was help for me to do that. So that's really wonderful. And one other thing, I was doing some outreach the other day and I ran into a woman who's an essential worker. She's a preschool teacher. And she said, I'm struggling. And and I said, go to the resource center. Here's the information. And she's like, no, but I work full time.
I love hearing that one.
Yeah.
But you live in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, okay, let's sit down and I'll talk to you about the help I've received and the help other people can receive.
Yeah, Mary's probably like, I have 2 jobs and I still couldn't afford to live here.
But it was nice to be able to see even just her shoulders drop a little bit of relief. So
yeah, I always hear Anita, even the 4 years I've been here, her biggest thing is like, don't let people disqualify themselves, even as donors or as potential clients. So
yeah,
good job, Mary.
Oh. For sure. Well, and good job to the Pacifica Resource Center for receiving the nonprofit.
Oh, is it official now? We can talk about it?
It is.
Woo!
Nonprofit of the Year Award, Jerry Hill's Nonprofit of the Year Award, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, congratulations. And so what does that mean for you and how does that feel?
It feels amazing, really, to be honored by our Senator, Jerry Hill. There's a couple of reasons why it is even more special to us, besides the fact of being recognized, right? Especially during a year that has been so challenging for so many, including PRC and the work that we've been doing over the last few years. But it's Jerry Hill's last year in office. And
bye,
so
Jerry.
for him,
if you're watching at home, Jerry, thanks for the sponsorships and the
but it's his last year, and for him to select us as sort of his going, goodbye and thank you was pretty awesome for us. And it's really funny because like a few years ago I found out about this award, and I was like, wow, how do we get nominated for something like that? That's pretty cool. I really think we should figure out how to do that. And then it happened naturally. I didn't talk to Jerry at all. He just like selected us. So that was
manifested
pretty awesome.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was like a couple of years ago I realized that it even existed, and I was like, huh, neat. And then to hear from actually our president, Chris Hunter, called me. I think it was like, I don't know, it was over the weekend or something, one weekend, and he's like, I just wanted to tell you that this is happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So exciting for us for so many reasons.
And I'm sure it was exciting also for the board and the staff, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. We definitely, like I said, to be honored at a time that we have heard from community members such, in some cases, negativity about some of the work that we do, to be recognized at a statewide level for the work that we do every day is pretty amazing. And absolutely, this award is for our current and past staff and board members, right? All of us did this to get us to this point. So it's really, such an honor for us in so many ways for so many reasons.
That's like 1957? All those folks too? Or when did we start?
1974.
I was about to say,
like 57.
no, sorry. I think that was when my dad was born. So yeah, he's not part of this award. But yeah, so like,
well, he is because he was.
Oh, that's true. But in the later years, not when he was born. But yeah, so this is like we're going on almost 50 years strong of PRC. And so yeah, for it to be recognized, awards are great, but the work continues. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. I know, I'm sure a lot of people are curious, and Mary might not even know, how did you kind of discover Pacifica, or what brought you to Pacifica, and how did you hear about PRC? Like, did you have any first impressions? And then obviously, I know how you feel about, this wonderful community now, but in my interview with Grocery Outlet, I kind of let them explain, how they came to be part of this community, and now they, cherish it so much. So can you just share a little bit about your background and then how you became ED at PRC?
Sure. So my job before this, I was an associate director of a grassroots organizing group, and I was looking for something different. I had been with that organization for about 10 years, so I started looking for work, and executive director of the Pacifica Resource Center came up, and I was like, I kind of knew Pacifica because one of my past clients had an appeal for welfare benefits, and she lived in Pacifica. So that was probably, so I knew a couple people who lived here, but had never really been to Pacifica. And so I remember thinking to myself, there's poor people in Pacifica. And then I stopped myself and I was like, of course there are poor people everywhere. So just because in my mind, I was thinking Pacifica was this very wealthy area.
Did you think we were like Menlo Atherton Light or something?
No, I mean, I just, anything on the coast, right? I mean, anything on the coast is like,
like Hollywood and like, just like, that's funny.
So
I grew up here and so did Mary. So we would love to be.
No, for sure. Well, and that's 100%, the assumptions that folks make, I didn't come to the coast very often. I mean,
people either don't even know it exists, or it's just always foggy, or in your case, you think, there's not a lot of need out here.
Yeah, for sure. And so then I was like, of course there are, I stopped myself. Given the work that I've done all my working life, I know this, but it was that first impression was like, wow, there's really, okay. And then I went through the process of applying for the position. And I remember having my first like phone interview. And I got off the phone with the woman who was a former board member, Michelle Trausch, who was actually off the board at the time, but helping the board find a replacement for the previous director. And I remember getting off the phone with her and going, that job's mine.
Oh.
Nice.
And then, I was like, that job is mine. The next day, I think I went to Costco and bought my my Fast Pass, my Fast Track, and then I came to my second interview, which was in person, or my first real interview in person, and it was like a panel of people, and I got really worried, right? Because my hair is purple, and I was like, what if they don't like me because of my, the assumptions that people make.
You start getting like, oh.
I started getting worried. I talked to the woman who does my hair. I'm like, is there something I could put in my hair temporarily to like make it not this color? And then like, I talked to some other folks and they're like, but it's who you are. And if they don't hire you for who you are, then it's not the right job.
Yeah. Also, our colors weren't purple back then. So people are playing.
No, they were. They were purple,
it was like
orange, and like, blue.
Yeah,
so
just
the only thing we changed, so purple was
it looked like the Miami Dolphins and like Barney are having a nonprofit.
So then I go to the interview and stuff, and then it was like it seemed like all of the folks who were at the interview were all from the faith-based community, and then it just sort of worried me because I'm like,
you started burning a little bit. You're like,
yeah. But I just got a little concerned, right? Because I'm just like, oh my gosh, if this is like really way faith-based, I'm gonna have a lot to learn.
Well put.
Yeah. But then later on, I actually, one of the folks who was on the panel I had spoken with later, we became, good friends and partners in the work at PRC. And she told me that, after I left, she said, we have to hire her. She has purple hair. So I was like, oh, bonus.
So it wasn't even about your qualifications. It was just the fact that you had
purple hair. Yeah.
All right. So kids watching
what
at
I
home,
worried about was.
Yeah. Be yourself.
Yeah.
And, just own it.
Totally.
job is yours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And was that like Debbie Keith's, Ginny Jane's, like that kind of?
No, actually back then it was, I mean, they were on the work for, I mean, they were part of the work for sure. Debbie Keith was actually the chair of the committee, the replacement or the search committee. Yeah, she was chair of the search committee. So, for sure, I thank her all the time for being part of the selection process.
Yeah, because she was still around before COVID. She was like working the front desk and telling me stories I didn't know. She's the one who put like the knocker on the back of the staff door. That,
that's right.
That looks like it's been there since since 57. But
a little bit that knocker, like.
Yeah, because it's like it's probably like actually like real I don't know, copper or something.
Yeah, I think it might bronze.
Bronze, yeah.
It's all patinaed and stuff and pretty.
And so yeah, you've been ED, and I'm sure there's been challenges and there's been rewards. We've kind of already covered those, so we could probably skip that question.
Yeah. Well, I will say that one of the coolest things. Well, there's many cool things, but when I started at PRC 10ish years ago, there were only 3 of us, and now there are 13. So it's pretty awesome. I mean, granted, it wasn't like we just grew overnight. It was a gradual growth, but it's pretty cool to be able to look back. We have another building. I mean, there's lots of things that we've been able to accomplish over the last few years.
I'll post some pics so people can kind of see our growth. And I think my extension is 5. So I was like 5th or 6th higher. So even since I've been here, we've doubled and we're not stopping. So we'll get into a little of the expansion later.
For sure.
Mary has a great question for you, though.
Because we're talking about Palmapalooza today.
We sure are.
Palmapalooza, right? So
yes.
Do you have like a favorite memory or something that you could share about past Palmapaloozas?
Yeah, for sure. Like our very, very first Palmapalooza there was a bunch of stuff happening, right? The street was being torn up, so we needed to find a different location. And so we actually we're able to use Beach Boulevard right outside of City Council chambers. And our theme was...
Like, it was a circus. Oh, no, carnival.
No. Yeah, carnival.
But you said carnival, and I heard carnival, so then we just went with...
No, it was carnival.
We wanted
totally carnival. Yeah.
And then Dulce showed up with a mask and she's like, I think you got the wrong memo, girl.
Yeah, but so we were able to pull together getting a Ferris wheel, which I thought was going to be the coolest thing, right? So I had this vision of this cool big Ferris wheel, and then it showed up and I was like, that thing's not so big.
Yeah, it was like a Ferris wheel's cousin.
Yeah, it was like baby Ferris wheel. And
you get Instagram versus reality.
So I was like, that's not what I was thinking, but then when you actually get on it, it was way, way high. And it was so cool because it was facing the ocean. So it's like you're going up and you get to see the ocean and then you come back down. And so as small as it seemed like it actually wasn't that small. And like one of my favorite pictures was our former board president, Robin Crawford, on the Ferris wheel. And as he's like coming down, he just looked like so happy and excited.
Yeah, he looked like a little kid, a 70-year-old little kid.
It was just really, really fun and really neat to see. And it was just a great event. I mean, it was the first time we had done something like that, where we brought like, stuff like that to do, something that wasn't just a come and sit down and give and have fun with your friends. It was like there was actually some other things for folks to do that was a little bit more.
Yeah, and this was like not inside. This was like we did like almost
outside,
like a tent. It was like a circus.
Yeah.
And then right before we're about to open doors, the half the power cuts.
Right.
So we're on like our third like spider or whatever those things are called, and then some board members are just like, oh no, screw it. And I was like, no, we need popcorn and we need cotton candy.
Oh,
like
right.
And then we have like a photo booth and it's like the green screen's like all windy, but I think that
it was windy that day too.
Yes.
Way windy.
It's like whose bright idea, probably mine, to have an outdoor event next to the pier in Pacifica. Right. But I think that was August, so we're banking on the hot weather, the nice weather coming in, but no, I think it was
cool. Overcast that day too, I remember. Yeah.
And I think depending on where we put this video in the program, folks saw the video. So we're gonna play some of the recap videos.
Good.
If I could find the picture of Robin, I'll put that down.
That would be so cool.
I actually ran into Robin on the way here. That's why I was even like more like in a rush. He was having lunch with Piper, but I recognized his walk because he had his mask on and a hat. And so Robin, if you're watching, thank you for everything. You obviously were a big part of PRC, and then even me being a part of the board with you, and then coming on into this role as development coordinator. So again, Robin, thank you so much. You've been a mentor to me, and best of luck on your travels and your journeys, my friend.
Yeah, don't make me cry again.
I know.
Mary, do you want to say anything to Robin?
I already did this morning.
Okay, but he's not leaving anytime. Yeah, I guess we have some time for it. So.
And my mom loved Robin so.
Oh,
now you're gonna make me cry. Bring up mom.
She even wrote it in her letter to the editor right before she died. She said, "Go see Robin Crawford."
P.S. Go see Robin Crawford. That's awesome. And yeah, now the best attorney in town is Piper. So Robin and Piper were the team, and that's awesome. And Piper's also, we can give a shout out to her for Pacificans Care. They're doing their giving week or something going on right now too. So Pacificans Care, watching at home, thank you guys so much for your support as well. Okay, we got a couple more. We did favorite memories. Oh, did you have a PRC like memory? I know you've been here for so long. We've already covered like the expansion of the pantry with Marina. A lot of folks, the case managers in particular, talked about, just delivering food to drive through and everything like that. But is there another PRC memory specific for you, or is it just mainly like the expansions and the growth?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think right now, and this sort of goes into another question, but just our unhoused on the coast work is pretty cool, because like just a little history. When I started at PRC, I was told by by some of our partners, right, that, there wasn't really a lot of unhoused folks in Pacifica. And so, because we were having challenges getting our folks into shelter beds when they needed shelter. And they're like, I was like,
news alert for you watching it, for the folks watching at home, there is no shelter on the coast. So
I was about
we have the extra. Well, my aunt sponsored from Sacramento, so she travels in her motorhome, which is an RV because it's recreational.
Right.
So her watching home, she's like, oh, why don't you just put, just homeless folks just go in shelter, right? Just like the movies. And it's like, no.
No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So, because I was asking, why isn't there a shelter on the coast? Can we get a shelter on the coast? And, our partners are like, well, is there really any need in Pacifica? There's not enough need in Pacifica. So I was like, okay, let's start documenting the need, right? So we've done a few one-day homeless counts, saw that there was an increase in the number of folks who are homeless. And then the next thing that they said, so then I was like, okay, so we've documented that there's a need. What about a shelter on the coast? And they're like, is it really community support? And I'm just like, okay, that's what I've been working on since then. It's community support, which, is hit or miss, but nevertheless, we've come up with other strategies to help folks, become housed. But we went through a process where we released a report, Homeless in Pacifica, back in 2013. Back at that time, folks were like, oh, there's only really 2 homeless people in Pacifica. And it's like, well, no.
Yeah, the only 2 you can see by the liquor store in Crest.
Exactly. I was like, well, that's not actually true. There's actually more than that in Pacifica. When you look at when you look at our one-day homeless count, and you think in terms of, that was on one day every 2 years where we count who we see. It doesn't take into consideration the folks who are couch surfing, who don't have a regular place to sleep at night, but are not outside street homeless.
Yeah, because if you're renting a garage for $100 a month, you're still technically homeless.
Yeah, absolutely. You are. If you rent, if you are sleeping on someone's couch, but that's not your regular place of residence, and that could end at any time because it's a friend or a family member who's letting you just crash there.
Yeah, that's
also homeless. And so, but right. Our one-day homeless count doesn't count those folks. It only counts the people that we see outside or in vehicles or encampments. And so it's really, really important. And through that documentation, we've been able to get more resources into Pacifica for us to be able to offer more services. And first, that was the county's the Life Moves homeless outreach team added Pacifica as a specific site instead of it just being offered as needed. And then most recently, over the last year, we were able to receive funding through both state and local funds, homeless funds, to start our Unhoused on the Coast outreach. And so 2 outreach specialists are able to go out and connect with folks, connect them to our services. And then, like I said, being able to offer housing center case management, which really focuses on what housing you want, not what housing can you afford, not what housing do I think you should have. It's really like, where are you most successful in housing? And then let's break it down and figure out how to get you there. And so that it's not really about us telling other people what they should be doing, but it's really about working with the individual on what their ultimate housing goal is, whatever that is, with no judgment at all. So for me, that's probably one of the most current exciting things that we're doing, because it just gives us the opportunity to try some things that, you know, what I've seen over the last 10 years hasn't happened, right? Sometimes what happens in organizations is you sort of get set in, this is the way it's always been done. And we're really trying to learn from what we've seen over the last 10 years and try something different.
And kind of maintaining the services that we've talked about.
Absolutely. And at the same time doing those other services, for sure.
I know Mary's really excited about this topic too. Go ahead, Mary. Sorry.
No, but I just think we don't have a choice right now. We have to look at things differently, because the world has changed so much that, you know. Yeah.
And it's only got and going to get worse. I mean, I've shared my story during the Great Recession, and I didn't even know PRC was available. And so now I'm at the age where I can see another one coming, or it's going to be even worse than the housing recession. And that one, a lot of the stories that came through the door when I first started, it's folks still saying, I lost my house in 2008, 2009. I've been in a car in and out of, garages ever since. And so we're going to be working on this for, years to come. And it's good for people to hear this firsthand from, all of us, the folks who are on the ground working on this stuff. And, there's so much going on. So even I forget that we actually have county funds, because, I'm the fundraiser. So I'm like, we got to get all this funds, but having the support from the county coming in, that is them, doing their part, and they're on the ground there with us when they can. So thank you for clarifying that for me and folks watching at home. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Like what's next for PRC? What can the community do to support? Like how, if they want to get involved, or anything else? I haven't looked at the strategic plan in a while. Sorry, boss. But yeah, what else is next for PRC besides continuing our work and expanding the unhoused work?
Well, the other piece that we are working on the possibility of expanding our grocery programs as well. So we're just sort of waiting to hear back about a funding opportunity to expand our delivery programs. So right after COVID happened, everything went to delivery, right? We were just like, we got to get food out to people and we need them to stay home. So we're going to deliver everything. And then as the pandemic continued, we realized that wasn't necessarily something that we could do indefinitely. And so we scaled the deliveries back and started the drive-through instead. And so that's a hybrid between the two of those things, so that folks who could leave and wanted to leave their homes could come and pick up groceries as they needed them. And then for those folks who couldn't, we would deliver.
Yeah, special thanks to Second Harvest Food Bank. Sorry if we didn't say hi yet.
Oh my gosh. And the Office of Sustainability, who gave us funding to buy the refrigerated van before the pandemic.
Pick in the comments of the van. I'll find a good one. Go ahead and check that out. Like, comment, subscribe,
But yeah, so as I, had a conversation with our food program coordinator, Rose Davis, which many of you know, I've
known her since I was like 5. So yeah, I know.
I was like, what's your, let's dream big. What is it that you want to do with the food programs? Like where do you see us? Like, where do you want to go? Like, what do we want to do? Right. So I told her the story of actually Robin's story around, his dream would be that we had basically a grocery store, and that grocery store, everybody paid with a card. Right. So anybody could go to this grocery store and pick up any groceries that they wanted. They all looked the same, who they were, whether they got free groceries or paid a portion of, paid for them or whatever. Nobody knew, right? Because it was always paid the same way with this same card, like a membership card. And that way, there was no stigma associated with going to your grocery store, right? It was a grocery store, but one person might get it for free and another person might be paying retail price.
Yeah, it's basically like Amazon without the app. You just walk in, you grab, and you go, and then it didn't matter if it was a donor, a supporter, or anyone, but you knew the people in there were, partners with PRC in one way or the other, and there was no judgment. Maybe not even check cashiers at one point,
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
The PRC app.
So I told her that was a dream that had come up in the past. And
did you know that Rose actually like ran a grocery store? Oh, obviously because you interviewed her. Oh,
no, I didn't know she ran a grocery store.
I think I gotta check in with her, but I think she like did produce for a while, like a produce section.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know that, but yeah, so I told her that because when we first started talking, it was like so hard for her to look outside of like what we're already doing, and she's like, well, then we'll need this. I was like, I don't need you to tell me what you think we need. What I want you to tell me is what you want, and I'll figure out. Then we'll figure out what we need, and then then that way it's like in the back of my head when opportunities arise, then we can maybe make some of those things happen. And so what we landed on, right, because our ultimate dream would be a grocery store, but an interim goal would be to deliver to anybody who wanted deliveries, and that it wouldn't necessarily, at our sort of midway dream, right, would be that people could select what they wanted. So it would truly be like Amazon groceries being delivered based on what people picked, based on what we tell them we have, and then we deliver what they want versus pre-packed groceries.
And this just wouldn't be clients, right? This would just be supporters?
No, those would probably, the deliveries would just be clients. I mean, the grocery store would be everybody, right? Everybody, whoever needs groceries shows up.
Now I'm going big.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But the deliveries, it would be just,
more of a user experience of like the shopping and just not a lot of contact with folks because like I said, people are working 2-3 jobs, single parents. You got your kids at home with Zoom now. Like the last thing you want to worry about is how you're going to get your groceries, especially pay the rent. So that's awesome.
So yeah, so that so we've got some things in the works to potentially expand and get another van or a refrigerated truck that would allow us to get more groceries into the office and out to people, along with additional support for drivers, because that's the other piece, right? You can't deliver unless you have drivers, and we have one. So we would need to definitely increase that. So that's another thing that we're looking at doing, just to, again, it goes back to this whole place, the thing that I mentioned earlier around, stigma associated with asking for help, and how can we make things easier for people? And one of those ways is nobody knows where your groceries are coming from. They're coming in from a white van, right? A white refrigerated van's dropping off.
Well, now everyone's going to know the white van. But.
Well, there's maybe, like a million vans.
Maybe it's sponsored.
Amazon on it.
Yeah. Actually, what if we did just do an Amazon van?
Right, and then nobody would.
And then when they try to sue us, we're like, can you donate instead?
Right, exactly.
Before we move on, I know we're coming to the end here. Can you just talk a little bit about the case management? Because I know we talked a lot about food, a lot about homeless, but the thing that I learned the most in my 4 years being here is that the service we really provide is case management and the stuff that happens confidentially. Yeah, confidentially. Mary, help me out. Confidentially, behind the closed doors, and that kind of sets up the plan. The food is great because it's easier to give you food than to pay the random bills that walk through the door. But yeah, if you can just go into case management, and then Mary, you can take us home after that.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so one of the things we try really hard to do is provide as much of the resources and services in-house so the folks don't have to go someplace else to get help. But absolutely, before, like, we give things, right, to help cover costs. So groceries helps you to not have to go to the grocery store and buy groceries. You can use that to pay other bills. But it's really what Mary said earlier, it's that plan, it's that sounding board opportunity to really think through what your challenge is, and then have a safe place to talk about it and come up with what works for you. So again, not us telling you what you should do, but giving people options and opportunities to then decide what makes the most sense for them. Because if you're part of the solution, it's going to be real. If you're being told what the solution is, you're not as vested. And so being able to sit down with one of our case managers or any staff person to go through, what is your ultimate goal? How can we help you get there? You might come in asking for one thing. We might not be able to give you that thing, but we can give you something that gives you hope and gives you, ideas about what to do next. So yeah, absolutely. Case management is the core of everything that we do. And like I mentioned, the housing center case management is something that we hope to do, not just with our unhoused clients, but even, you know, all of our clients who are having concerns about their housing situation. If they're worried about their rent going up and then not being able to pay their rent, then being able to develop, to really go through a process to help you figure out, you know, where do you want to live, you know, and then how can you get there? If it's buying a house in the future, how can we help you get to that point? If it's, I need to downsize, or I want to stay in this apartment, how can we help you do that? Those kinds of things are all one-on-one. It's not, there's no like preconception of what we're going to tell people. It really is 100% dependent on what the folks who are coming to us want and need, right? They're the experts in their lives. We're not. You know, we know stuff, we know resources, we know strategies, but ultimately we don't know what you want. But we're here to listen and help come up with solutions and ideas and strategies and support you in doing that, for sure.
And caring, I mean, that's all caring, right? So it's so wonderful to be able to go to a place where everybody cares about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's
from the start to the end, right?
It sounds pretty compassionate. Are you sure? I'm glad that you pointed out that expert in your own lives. That's as I'm reflecting on the 4 or 5 years that I've been here, it's definitely that folks are the expert of their own lives. And so if we try to control the things that we can't control, that's not going to work out well. But if we can swallow our pride and come through these doors and ask for the help, then the staff here is trained. Like, Marina's been here forever, and we have 2 new case managers, going on 3, maybe 4.
Well, we have 2 outreach.
I'm using Christelle's office right now. So hi, Christelle. Thank you for letting me borrow this. But
yeah, we've got 2 case managers, 2 outreach specialists that do some case management, but mostly out in the field.
But okay, so it's 5 case managers, 2 are out in the field. So 3 in-house, right?
Yeah, Marina does case management, but Marina
and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I would say 1/3 of our staff is case management, but no one talks about that online. No one talks about that, in the streets. So that was really important. Thank you for highlighting that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also maybe you can just let everybody know how they can get a hold of you if they have any questions. Yeah,
absolutely. Phone number is 650-738-7470. Our website is pacresourcecenter.org.
It's so funny because we say it so often. We have to say it on camera. It's like, is it pacifica.com? But
yeah.
And then
email can go to info@pacresourcecenter.org, or if someone goes to the website, there is a place to contact us and actually request help, and then we'll follow up with individuals who are asking for additional supports. But those are the 3 main ways: website, email, and phone. Yeah, obviously I'm walking in, although right now
I was going to say, make sure you check the hours before you come in and wear your mask.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we also get messages on Yelp, Facebook, Instagram, and I kind of feel those, but I would prefer you guys to cut me out of and just go straight to the source. And then, I know we've done the AMA on Nextdoor. So if folks have questions that they want the public to know, you could, if you're a part of the Pacifica Nextdoor, just search AMA Anita Rees, or we'll share it in the link here or on Nextdoor again. But there's a lot of good questions in there that we've covered multiple times, and it's almost become like a frequently asked question hub. So Anita is monitoring that. So am I. So when you guys add stuff, we'll get to it. And then is there, for folks who just kind of want to come straight to you to the top, would you mind sharing your extension and also your email? Because
sure. Yeah.
I mean, you're always available. And I just
absolutely
ask Anita. Yeah. That's how the AMA came up. But
exactly. Email is anita@pacresourcecenter.org, and my extension is 3. So 738-7470 extension 3.
And that's how you get a hold of Anita.
That is.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get you on Instagram and Twitter so people can just slide into your DMs with all these questions that are just
Oh, we're so grateful for the time that you spent with us today.
Oh, for sure.
It was fun. Is there anything else that folks at home should know or that you want to say? This is our first virtual Palmpalooza event. Maybe our last. Who knows?
Yeah. I hope our last, I hope our only virtual Palmapalooza. But if not, you know, we're going to do whatever we need to make sure people, you know, feel comfortable and stay healthy. And I just want to thank everybody for continuing to support PRC, especially during these unprecedented times. You know, I would never have guessed that we'd be 6 months in and with no real end in sight, but know that we are always, always, always here for the community, and we will do everything that we can to support the city and its residents and our neighbors. Absolutely.
Nice.
Because together, hashtag we are PRC. We didn't even practice that.
I was totally going to say that earlier and I forgot.
But I'm just gonna clip that and put like some Sarah McLachlan in the background. It's like, but together we are, and I'll make like the American flag at the pier or something.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Mary, this will probably be the last interview we air in the program. So, is there anything you want to say to the folks, or Anita, or any of the folks that are part of PRC? You know, you're the liaison. That's why you're hosting with us today. And
right? Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Well, I think I really want to thank all the volunteers that come and give their time and help make things, run as they do. And the board members, it's really important to have a solid group of board members, and they are doing a ton of work right now. And so thank you to all the board members and the staff. Yeah. And to the city of Pacifica, we just need to keep supporting Pacifica Resource Center as much as we possibly can for as long as we possibly can, because there's so much success that happened at Pacifica Resource Center.
And now we got receipts and stories. We're going to share them as much as possible.
That's right.
So yeah, I wouldn't be the development corner if I didn't say, there's still an opportunity to sponsor this wonderful event. If you're seeing this, there's a link below. So go ahead and give if you can, or if you're in a position where you need some help. We've talked about the information. We've talked about ways to get it, how to access it. And so you can walk in, you can come online, you can call, either way. But no matter what you're going through, PRC is here for you. That's kind of been our internal jingle, so to speak. So yeah, thank you, Anita, again for taking the time. It's been an honor this last 4 years and an hour that we've spent together. And Mary, I'm just like the biggest fan of you. So thank you for putting up with me and doing these podcasts and whatever this is, virtual Palmapalooza, Palapalooza, Pandemic Pal. And then, we have a couple more videos to share with you folks. There's even one coming up with President Chris Hunter, not, the world president, who that is, but board president Chris Hunter. And he's also the chief of staff for Don Horsley. So I really I think it's either coming next or soon, but he's got a great story about, making a difference. And that's all PRC is here to do in Pacifica. So this is our home turf, Mary. We're not going to let it go down without a fight,
Hey.
Okay. And then I think me and Mary are going to meet up social distance. Mary, you have to wear your mask. I know you're going to want to smile at me and stuff, but we're going to meet up outside, and we're going to choose our winners of the raffle. Well, I guess the drawing. It's not a raffle. Don't come after me.
Not a raffle. Not a raffle. Just
so Mary, I'll see you in a little bit, and everyone watching at home, thank you again for supporting Palmapalooza, palmapalooza.com, pacresourcecenter.org, # we are PRC. Anita, Rees, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
And so you're going to end the recording, Mary?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You want me to?
Yeah, end recording, and then we'll just, thank each other.